clash of energies resonated throughout the hall, a brilliant struggle between Kael's light and Malakar's darkness. With each pulse of energy, Kael could feel the orb amplifying his strength, but he also sensed the evil radiating from Malakar. It was more powerful than he had anticipated. "You think you can defeat me with mere hope and friendship?" Malakar scoffed, determination consuming his features. "I have conquered warriors far stronger than you." Kael clenched his fists, focusing his energy. "It's not just hope, it's the strength we give each other, and we won't back down." As the battle intensified, Grom charged forward, using his massive size to shield Kael and Lyra from a barrage of shadowy projectiles that Malakar hurled their way. With each impact, Grom showed unwavering bravery, but the onslaught was relentless. Meanwhile, Lyra looked around the hall and spotted various artifacts hanging on the walls, items of power from ancient warriors who had once fought against Malakar. One in particular caught her eye, a glowing sword that shimmered with energy, offering hope against the dark forces. "Kael, over there," she shouted, pointing to the sword. "If we can get that, it might be the weapon we need." Kael nodded. "Grom, cover me while I grab it." With renewed determination, Kael sprinted toward the sword, dodging shadow attacks as Grom created a protective barrier. Just as Kael reached for the blade, a dark tendril lashed out, aiming to drag him into shadows. In that moment, Kael could hear the voice of the celestial spirit resonating within the orb, urging him to channel his fears into strength. "Believe in yourself, Kael," the voice urged. Taking a deep breath, Kael focused his energy. An aura of light surrounded him, making him impervious to the dark tendril. He grasped the sword, feeling its power surge through him. Empowered, he swung the blade with newfound strength, slicing through the shadows and sending shockwaves that echoed through the hall. "Now we've got a fighting chance," Lyra cheered as she joined him, drawing on her own courage. Meanwhile, Grom retaliated against Malakar's shadows, his fists crashing against them like thunder. The trio worked in harmony, Kael wielding the sword with agility, Lyra issuing commands, and Grom acting as an unyielding shield. As the tide of battle began to shift, Malakar's expression soured. "You think this changes anything? I will destroy you," he shouted, unleashing a dark vortex filled with energy that threatened to consume them. In that dire moment, Kael felt the orb glowing even brighter. He realized that he and his friends had grown stronger together. "We can't let him separate us," he proclaimed. "Let's combine our powers." The trio stood back to back, channeling their energy into a single unified force. Kael raised the sword high, and the celestial spirit's light enveloped them, creating a shimmering barrier that absorbed the dark vortex. With a final push, they directed their combined energy towards Malakar. The attack surged forth, striking Malakar with a blinding light. Kael felt the rush of power as he led the charge, the sword infused with the energy of their friendship and determination. As the light enveloped Malakar, he let out an ear-piercing scream and fought against its brilliance, attempting to hold his ground. But the force was too strong, overwhelming him. With a final explosion of light, Malakar was engulfed, his dark essence dissipating into the air, leaving nothing but silence behind. The celestial spirit floated gently down, now radiating warmth instead of darkness. Exhausted but triumphant, Kael, Lyra, and Grom fell to their knees, breathing heavily but filled with excitement. They had defeated Lord Malakar, for now. With the threat vanquished, Kael approached the celestial spirit, holding it in his hands. "We did it," he whispered, disbelief washing over him. Lyra smiled, her eyes shining with pride. "Together, we can face anything." As they prepared to leave the fortress, the orb pulsed with new energy, hinting that their adventures were far from over. Shadows stirred in the distance, and unknown challenges awaited them beyond.